The Panzerschreck, translating to tank fright, was one of Germany's most powerful and feared anti-tank weapons during World War II. Often linked to the American Bazooka due to its design and function, the Panzerschreck, or officially the Raketenpanzerbüchse or rocket-propelled anti-tank rifle 54, became the mainstay for German anti-tank teams in their efforts to halt advancing Allied armor. Its tactical application on the battlefield involved calculated positioning, stealth, and teamwork to maximize the weapon's devastating capabilities. The Panzerschreck was developed after German forces encountered the American M1 bazooka in 1942, which inspired German engineers to create a similar but even more powerful weapon. Unlike the bazooka, the Panzerschreck fired an 88mm rocket with a higher explosive yield capable of penetrating up to 160mm of armor at close range. While it was very heavy and cumbersome at around 9 kilograms, its impact made it invaluable for infantry attempting to stop tanks and armored vehicles. German anti-tank teams trained specifically on how to deploy and use the Panzerschreck in a way that optimized their effectiveness and survival. The Panzerschreck was best used from concealed or camouflaged positions. German soldiers would select positions on the flanks or from behind cover, such as hedgerows, buildings, or rubble piles in urban areas. By striking from the side or rear, teams could avoid a tank's frontal armor, which was often the thickest. The Panzerschreck was most effective at ranges under 150 meters, so teams had to let tanks come dangerously close before firing. This required both patience and nerve, as exposing the shooter to the tank's machine guns or infantry support could be fatal if the shot failed to connect. The Panzerschreck was typically operated by a two-man crew, a shooter and a loader. This team dynamic was essential to keep up with the rapid reloading needed in high-stakes confrontations. The shooter focused entirely on aiming and firing, while the loader immediately prepared the next round. This allowed for a rapid succession of shots, providing a critical edge in fast-paced engagements. The teams drilled extensively to streamline these handoffs and maintain situational awareness while under pressure. German anti-tank teams often worked in concert with other infantry units, sharing target information and coordinating fire to overwhelm armored units. If multiple Panzerschrecks were available, teams would focus their fire on one single tank at a time, improving the chances of disabling or destroying the vehicle. The Panzerschreck's effectiveness depended heavily on terrain, and anti-tank teams adapted their strategies to maximize its potential. In cities and towns, German teams would station themselves in buildings or rubble to gain elevation. Shooting down onto tanks exposed weaker top armor and allowed for a clean shot without worrying as much about range limitations. In forests or rural areas, teams used natural cover such as trees or small dips in the terrain. They often took advantage of narrow roads and checkpoints where tanks could only approach single file, making it easier to focus fire. In open environments where cover was scarce, Panzerschreck teams often employed hit-and-run tactics. After firing, teams would rapidly reposition to a secondary ambush point, reducing the chance of retaliation from Allied infantry or tank crews. While the Panzerschreck was a formidable weapon, it wasn't without its drawbacks. The Black Blast, a result of the rocket-propelled warhead, was extremely visible and left the teams exposed after firing. This bright plume of smoke made it easy for Allied forces to locate and retaliate against the Panzerschreck teams. To counter this, German soldiers would often wear protective face shields to guard against backblast injuries and smoke inhalation. Additionally, this visibility meant that Panzerschreck operators had only seconds to relocate or find cover before counterfire arrived. The Panzerschreck's effectiveness wasn't just in its psychical impact, it also had a significant psychological effect on Allied troops. With its reputation for puncturing Allied armor, soldiers often reported feeling vulnerable to ambushes, especially in close quarters or urban settings. The constant threat of hidden anti-tank teams slowed down advances and forced Allied armor to proceed with greater caution, often requiring additional infantry support to clear areas where Panzerschreck teams might be lurking. The Panzerschreck was one of the deadliest infantry-held anti-tank weapons of its time, and its tactics influenced post-war anti-tank weapon development across the world. It demonstrated the effectiveness of a well-coordinated, mobile anti-tank strategy and underscored the importance of providing infantry with portable anti-armor options. The lessons learned from German anti-tank teams' use of the Panzerschreck have been echoed in the development of more modern, shoulder-fired anti-tank weapons like the American M72 light anti-tank weapon. The Panzerschreck left a lasting mark on World War II battlefields and anti-tank tactics. The German anti-tank teams maximized this weapon's impact through careful positioning, close teamwork, and a willingness to engage in risky maneuvers to cripple enemy armor. Despite its drawbacks, the Panzerschreck remained an effective and iconic weapon that forced Allied forces to adapt their strategies, highlighting the fierce arms race that characterized the ground battles of World War II. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to support my channel, check out the PayPal donation link in the description or consider becoming a member. To make sure you don't miss my future work, subscribe to my channel please and press the bell notification button. Thank you and see you in the next video.